Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are all doing well and having a nice weekend. It is a fairly chilly Sunday here in England, and what better time to jump into an old classic, The Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Fighting fantasy books were always a big part of my childhood. They were always a good second resort if computer games or the telly wasn't available, and they did a pretty good job at encouraging me to read as well, which was quite nice. I was a bit skeptical at first when I heard that they were bringing these to, making them digital. Kind of felt like it would defeat the object of that, the whole point of having a physical book and making it interactive by flicking through the pages, having a dice and a character sheet. But with the advent of the smartphone, it kind of makes sense to have this kind of game in your pocket, and it's nice to still have something that's reliant on reading rather than something that just reads it to you and holds your hand the whole way. And of course, it's nice that these kind of games are still being recognised. I mean, even if they are the basic blueprint for a lot of more digital games now, but it's nice to see it making somewhat of a resurgence. So let's dive into a new game, shall we? We can have a story or gauntlet. I can only imagine gauntlet will be something that's far more combat based, kind of defeating the object of what a storybook would be, but we're 100% going to go with story. Oh, that's quite nice. In the books, all the images, or the books I had at least, they were always black and white. Very looking, hand-drawn sketch kind of look, like it was just done with a ballpoint biro. And often quite hard to understand what the image was. So many of them were a depiction of like a dark cave, doused in shadows, and when you've only got one colour, which is black, it can be quite difficult to figure out, but that's a really nice rendering of a colorized version of what we would have got in the books. Greetings, player. Welcome to the world of Titan, in particular the most notorious of all lands, Alexandra. Oh, there you go. That's exactly what I was talking about. There is your sketched image. Ah, that is really nice to have both options. Yeah, cool. I am Oriana, the Keeper of Souls, your guide and your games master of sorts. Many adventurers have entered Firetop Mountain over the last 30 years or so. Voracious readers have wandered the many passages, battling the monsters within, and negotiating the many traps, only then to take on the might of Zagor the Warlock. Or Zagor, whichever your preference. I'm going to say Zagor. With skill, stamina, and luck, they have chosen their many paths and rolled their fate. Many of these brave young adventurers have perished in the darkness, and their souls even now lie unclaimed. You appear to be the next brave soul to take on the mountain and all it contains. To do this, you will need to choose an Alexandrian hero to take into the mountain. Don't get too comfortable with your choice, however, as the ways are treacherous and it is doubtful that you will survive. Only by bringing me the souls of the fallen may you be blessed with new heroes over time, which with their own quests, each with their own quests within Zagor's domain. Okay, so that's cool. That's already building in the replayability by saying there's different paths, different stories, different heroes, but the only way you're going to unlock them is by playing it multiple times. So let's see what heroes we can choose from. That's quite nice. That's a very nice looking, hand-painted board game model kind of look. So who have we got? We've got Lunica Icardi, Decian Strom, Alexandra of Blacksand, and Aran Godspeed. At this point, I must be honest, I'm probably drawing most of this woman with a rolling pin behind. I'm guessing these are the characters we can unlock. We have like an old wizard-looking merchant, an old woman. He looks kind of like almost like a bard and a alchemist maybe. But I think I'm going to go with Alexandra because she seems like the kind of rogue character with a dagger and a sword. And in an RPG, I'd usually play as a roguish character because if there's ever a chest I can't unlock, it gets me frustrated. So off the bat, we have stamina of 18, skill 10, and luck of 8. And a little blurb of our character's backstory. The warrior known as Alexandra of Blacksand is famed for her many adventures. Her name is known in many parts of Alexandria. No matter where she is, Alexandra has a knack of sniffing out trouble and gold. An experienced adventurer with a deft sword arm, she can sense dangerous situations before they happen and has built up a good reputation for completing quests quickly and diplomatically, reducing the need for unnecessary conflict. Attributes: educated, has an above average level of education. Lucky, fortune favours you often. Okay. Attacks. So this is kind of outlining what kind of attacks we're going to do on our 3x4 grid. So it looks like we can attack directly in front at an angle. It says right attack. I don't know if that means we can't do a left attack. I'm guessing not. A piercing strike, which can do 2 enemies at once, and a quick jab, which looks like it's our ranged attack. Okay, so let's choose Alexandra. Seems like a good place to start. You have chosen Alexandra of Blacksand, a wise choice for your first game, player. Before entering the mountain, I want you to visit the one-armed swordsman of Anvil, Lin Wen Sai. He will teach you the basics of combat, which you will need to know if your hero is going to survive Zagor's domain. So a little combat tutorial for us here. During your adventures, you will encounter many different foes, magical and monstrous, brigand and beast. There will be an assortment of creatures lurking within Firetop Mountain, eager to bring your adventure to a premature end. But let us learn to walk before we start running, shall we? Lin Wen Sai wants you to fight some Quintains. Or is it Quintins? Is it Quintins? I'm going to go with Quintins. Or Quintains. Which will allow you to experience how combat functions. The thing about reading these fighting fantasy books is you never actually read these words out loud. You just have how they formulate in your own head. During combat, you can choose to move or attack by selecting a space. Select move to advance towards the Quintain. Okie dokie. A little wiggle there. After you select your action, both you and your opponent will play out their moves simultaneously. Okay, so we're not going to know how the enemy's going to behave until we've chosen our action. Move to the side to avoid the Quintain's attacks. Okay, so his action was to attack, so we kind of had to anticipate that by moving out of the way. Sometimes it's better to attack where an enemy is likely to move to instead of where they currently are. Attack the space in front of the Quintain. Okie dokie. Oh, I see how this works. If both you and your foe try to attack each other at the same time, you will clash. It is then a test of who has the greatest skill, with the loser taking damage. Attack the Quintain and clash. So presumably if we have a massive amount of skill, it's always best to go hand-to-hand fisticuffs. Of course, it's all based on dice rolls. Your enemy will move and attack in somewhat predictable patterns. Pay attention to when they shake to indicate that they will be attacking next round. Use your movement and attacks to defeat the Quintain. Probably saying that completely wrong and it's going to annoy someone. So I'm going to move... So what are these orange spaces? Oh, okay, it's where I can attack. So I'm going to move out of the way. I'm going to move back in again. Oh, let's just go straight from the attack, shall we? Ooh, that's a bad miss. So it looks like he's going to move to there. So if we attack in anticipation, yes. Victory, you are triumphant. Fantastic. Double trouble. In addition to the basic attacks, your hero has special attacks that they can unleash. These powerful attacks can take several turns to recharge, so use them sparingly. Defeat this pair of Quintains. Okay. So how do we use a skill? Ah, okay. So precision strike. So that, if I remember, quick jab is the one. I think precision strike. Yes, there's two people in front, and the quick jab basically launches me. So it's almost seems like a throwing dagger. What I now want to do is, I want to use my. I think he's going to try and attack me diagonally, but I want to use my other skill to pierce them both, but I don't think I'm going to get to do that. So I'm going to move over here. Looks like he's going to move that way, and he's going to move that way, so if we do an attack there... Oh no, we missed. Can we attack diagonal? Yes, we can. This reminds me a lot of Legend of Grimrock. Where you have to kind of, you know, you rotate and move around the grid, kind of not knowing where the enemy's going to go. I know he's going to move away, isn't he? But if we use a piercing attack, that might do both, so... Yes, excellent. So he wiggled, which means he's going to move. Although he's facing me, but let's just attack him anyway. Now, we're not doing very good on our rolls, are we? But we are triumphant, and that's the main thing. And we've got 3 souls now. Victory. You lost no stamina, you gain 3 souls. Congratulations, you have passed the basics of combat training. Just one more thing, player. Whilst on your quest, keep an eye out for wooden benches like this one. Looks comfy. Rest ye here, weary traveller. That's pretty cool. I do like that. I could sit and click that all day. What I really like actually is how the colour comes from wherever you click. Using them will allow you to restore your stamina. If you run out of stamina, your adventure ends. So be sure to take rest now and then. You will also have some provisions which you can use at any time, but they tend to work best when you are resting at a bench, so keep that in mind. So it looks like we're going to get some sort of boost for our items if we are in a proper location. You will receive 3 resurrection stones at the start of your quest. If your adventurer dies heroically, you can use the stone to bring them back to life. Be warned though that your hero will only appear at the last bench that you passed. You will also lose any souls that you have absorbed between the seat and the location of their death. So basically we have 3 extra lives and a bit of Dark Souls thrown in there. We will lose our souls if we die. This is where I leave you, player. It is time for you to begin your journey. Let us enter Firetop Mountain. Bounce, bounce, bounce. The villagers of Anvil cheered with excitement as you began your 2-day hike to Firetop Mountain. Cries of return to us safely, Alexandra, and may the luck of the gods be with you rang out. Your fame reaches even to remote towns like Anvil. Your mysterious patron, a sorcerer known to you only as Kith, nearly said Keith then, wants you to seek a massive ruby known as the Eye of the Cyclops and give it to Zagor, the warlock who rules within the mountain. Why would we want to do that? When you asked Kith about the significance of the ruby, the sorcerer only smiled and said, "You'll see." The citizens who live in the foothills of the mountain fear Zagor and have been very reluctant to tell you anything that may help you find him, fearing for their own safety. You have mixed feelings about this, about the adventure ahead, and you just hope that Kith's instructions are honourable and you do not let the local people down. One thing is clear though, you will not be dealing with any ordinary wielder of magic. You must be on your guard. It takes you 2 days to reach the menacing looking mountain and its sharp rocky crags that jut out at unnatural angles. That'll be the polygons, I imagine. At the top you can see an eerie red colouring, possibly some savage vegetation which has given the mountain its name. I imagine it's going to be that Cyclops eye that is glowing red, but we will see. You approach the cave, a known entrance used by the local band of orcs, your hand gripping the hilt of your long sword as you consider what dangers may lie ahead. Your adventure starts here. Let's have a little look at that in black and white. I don't know which I prefer. Is it more... I think it's more ominous in black and white, but then the colouring of it has done a really nice job at maintaining that hand-drawn detail. It's I really like it, especially with the old kind of parchment-looking pages. It's a simple touch, but it's, you know, it's I'm glad that they've kept sort of original style drawings. Peer into the gloom. Ah, here we go. This is nice. You see dark, slimy walls with pools of water on the stone floor in front of you. The air is cold and dank. Hearing faint scurrying to the east, you light your lantern. With the smell of orcs up my nose, I have a feeling I'm going to meet some formidable foes. That ruby is in the mountains somewhere, so I'm going to have to ask politely, using my sword, of course. Oh, I thought we had to get a colorized version of the portrait. Step wearily into the blackness. You stand in the dark, slimy cave entrance. I'm going to guess that's going to read back the... Yes, the last passage. So we can approach the fork ahead. Oh, that's really cool. I like that. Didn't need to be like that. Could have just been a flat plane, but it's nice that it's took the time to put in a little bit of animation. We can turn west or east. We can already see an orc. You know what? Let's go for the orc. A little way along the passage you come to what is clearly a sentry post. Oh, I remember this from the book, The Sleeping Orc. You approach with caution and can see an orc in leather armour asleep at his post. I hope all of Zagar's millions are this lazy. This could be my quickest adventure yet. You might want to keep keep the noise down around the sleeping orc. Carefully approach this sleeping orc. So we could try to tiptoe past or wake him and interrogate him. We've got pretty good luck and skill. Well, have we? Let's tiptoe past for now. We've got good stamina. You take a deep breath and try to tiptoe past the sleeping orc. Yeah, not bad. Skillful. You needed a score out of 10 or under and rolled a score of 8. Safely tiptoe past the orc. The passage begins to widen until you enter a cave. However, blocking the cave's exit are two of the ugliest creatures you have ever seen. They have the proportion of dogs, but their hide is rough and scaly. Each beast is chained to the cave wall, secured to their thick brass collars. The two orc hounds begin to snarl and strain at their chains. They cannot reach you, but their chains are long enough that should you approach, you will not be able to escape their slavering jaws. I've come across these poor creatures before on previous quests. Orcs generally don't treat them very well, which can make them quite vicious. You're going to have to deal with them quickly, one way or another, before they attract the attention of an orc patrol. Or maybe something even worse. Distract the orc hounds with some food, draw your weapon and do what has to be done. Well, I feel like we want to keep our food, so let's go into combat. Drawing your weapon, you prepare to engage the orc hounds in combat. However, because they are chained to the walls, their movement is limited. This should be fairly easy. So I'm going to try and just use skills here. So how limited are their movement, I wonder? Let's use a piercing strike. Oh no, I wanted to use a quick jab, didn't I? Oh well. Let's go again with it. Now he's going to move away, so this one's going to move in. So if we use a quick jab now, didn't quite work because we get to go first. Let's move to here. I think we should best just engage. Ooh, excellent. It's the orc. The orc guard has woken. Is he going to try and attack me? Let's move to here. Oh, that was a bad decision. I think he's going to move away. So if we do a quick jab. Of course, we get to go first, don't we? Not making the best decisions here. Let's try and anticipate this. I don't know what the order is of how we move, but I mean, who gets to go first? So does a wiggle mean an attack? Okay, a wiggle must mean an attack. I must have got that wrong and not a move. Let's move out of the way. I'm curious to know if they can attack each other. Let's engage. Oh, that's a bad roll. But we won somehow. Oh, excellent. 2 more souls. We lost 4 stamina. So if we do find a bench, we'll oh, here we go. Now, what is the penalty for sitting at a bench? Do we have to use food? Do we have resources? Let's find out. Leaving the cave as quick as you can, you follow the new passageway as it turns north. Do we automatically rest here? Set against the wall is a wooden bench where you may rest. Okay. So we can... Player, I would strongly advise sitting on the bench. If you do not, Alexandra of Blacksand will not be able to resurrect at this location if they perish. Very good point. So, oh, okay, so we can sit on the bench as like a save point, or we can rest and consume some provisions, which will restore our stamina. I don't think we're that low in stamina at the moment, so I think we can just sit on the bench and rest. You sit down on the bench and rest for a moment. Your aching muscles ease and your tiredness wanes. It is good to take a break on your adventure. Oh, fair enough. We do get stamina. Continue along the passage. Well, you know what? I think that's a good place to leave this first one, as we had to get through quite a lot of the setup. But I think we're well on our way now. And yeah, I'm actually quite impressed at how well this has translated to a computer game. I'm really pleased that, if anything, they've put in more narrative based on the gameplay mechanics. But yeah, I'm colour me impressed. Until the next chapter.